Hello YouTube, how's it going? This is the crossover and we're back with another video. Today we are going to be breaking down Dayton center DaRon Holmes. So without any further delay, let's get straight into the video. Versatility is the name of the game with DaRon Holmes, and specifically we are going to start off talking about his versatility on the offensive side of the floor, finishing around the rim. I want to start off talking about DaRon Holmes' post scoring, as he is a very quality scorer in the post, both in terms of attacking bigger players, where he does a great job using patience, lulling them to sleep and then spinning off them, as you can see here, or attacking players that are smaller than him. Playing in the Atlantic 10 Conference, generally his competition is a little bit smaller than him, and when the competition is a little bit smaller, you expect him to dominate if he is going to be an NBA caliber player, which DaRon does. He does a great job using his size and his physicality to just pretty much out-muscle players, get great positioning and finish right over them. However, even when he plays competition outside of his conference, such as the ACC with NC State, he does a great job using his physicality, and he has a good motor around the rim to finish and grab his own misses. He also thrives as a rim runner. However, you don't generally get to see this aspect of his game as much due to the system that Dayton runs offensively, and generally teams are playing Dayton in a zone, so therefore he doesn't get many opportunities to rim run. However, when he does, as you can see, he's very effective. He's capable of being an above the rim finisher, getting out in space on a fast break, as you can see here, and rising above the rim to flush in easy dunks. And that's a part of his game that you really like. He's a multifaceted big on the offensive side of the floor, which further adds value to his game and overall his profile at the next level. He can fill in space, as you can see here, filling in on the open spot on the block. That's something that you really like to see from him. He doesn't always have to be involved in the offense to score, which is a great part of his game. Again, as you see there, getting above the rim to flush in the shots. However, there are times where he can struggle with physicality, as you can see again in this NC State game specifically, where these centers are a bit bigger than him and he can struggle to kind of out muscle them. His footwork can be a bit of an issue. However, I think with time and proper development that will improve. Although the counting stats aren't necessarily great, make no mistake, DaRon Holmes is an excellent passer for his size. He generally operates a ton out of the post, the mid-post area, generally above the block, and as a result he's able to take advantage of the gravity that he causes due to his scoring prowess, and oftentimes teams are shading him, which means he can whip across passes to the weak side corner at will. You see this a ton in his game, and again, although the assist totals aren't necessarily eye-popping, they're generally solid for a big man, and his teammates don't do the best job of finishing these passes, as you can see here, but I really love this part of his game, and I think it's a part that whichever team he gets drafted to can take advantage of and really get creative with the way they use him, both as a finisher and as a passer. As a free throw shooter, I actually like DaRon Holmes a lot more than other big men prospects. I think he's a generally underrated free throw shooter. He's only shooting about 67% from the charity strike throughout this point of the season. However, this is on a very healthy 136 attempts, as at this point in the season we are at about mid to late January, so that's a very healthy amount of attempts, and generally I think the form is fine. I think he gets good, nice high elevation on his release. I think it's a nice high arching shot. I love the placement with the shooting hand. I think the guide hand could be a little bit of the problem as to why he's not a mid-70s free throw shooter, as the guide hand kind of does peer off a little bit. It doesn't necessarily follow his shooting hand all the way up. So if he fixes that, I think he could generally be a 75% free throw shooter at the NBA level. As far as a face-up game, he's shown some flashes, shooting about 40% in the mid-range so far. So that's an area of growth at his game that you really like to see. I don't think he's going to be a high volume mid-range scorer, but if he could just attack mismatches and just, again, continue to add wrinkles and continue to add to the versatility in his offensive skill set, that's what you really like to see. And again, it's not perfect, as you can see here. The form is a bit awkward when it's a live ball scenario, but generally I think if he can hit a mid-range shot here or there, it's not going to be a calling card of his, but be a mid-70s free throw shooter, be able to hit some mid-range shots. That's all you can ask for DaRon Holmes. Defensively around the rim, DaRon Holmes thrives as a shot contester and rim protector in general. He does a great job of contesting shots and staying vertically upright. He also has great timing on blocks, as you can see here, coming down from the free throw line to contest the shot without really fouling. Another example, back-to-back examples of this, right? And that's something that you see a lot. He has great timing on these blocks, as you can see here. The guard attacks downhill off that ball screen, and DaRon Holmes is able to contest that shot without much resistance. And he's also a patient defender, as we talked about. Does a good job staying upright, as you can see here. Maintains, his good lower body strength, maintains his positioning, and is able to contest the shot. Again, as you see here with this NC State big man, keeps the bigger defender in front of him, which is something that we will get into in just a little bit. But generally, he does a good job of holding his own when he's giving up some height to bigger offensive players. And generally, he's just such a patient, such a versatile defender, just such a smart defender in general. Just brings so much value to the defensive side of the floor. Also, as a defensive rebounder, where in the Atlantic 10, generally a smaller conference, you'd expect a player of his size, to really dominate on the glass, and that's exactly what he does. Does a good job of securing defensive rebounds in traffic, which I think will also translate to the NBA level. Maybe not to the same degree, just because the competition is going to be getting a little bit bigger, but he's still going to be a fairly solid rebounder. However, again, when he is giving up a little bit of size on the defensive side of the floor, it can be a bit of an issue, as sometimes if you're just 2-3 inches smaller, you're giving up some pounds, you're gonna get scored on sometimes. So that's something that you do see sometimes with DaRon. However, at the NBA level, there's how many post defenders are really going to be attacking him like that, right? There's only a handful of players that really thrive as post scorers. So generally, I don't think this is going to be a bit of an issue, but it is something to note. DaRon Holmes' ability to play in multiple schemes defensively really adds a ton of value to his profile. We talked about how he's able to thrive in drop coverage. However, he's also able to come up to the level of the ball screen and stop the ball handler's momentum. As you see here, he's guarding a Traquavion Smith pick and roll, again with the hands that we talked about before, able to get a hand on the ball and create a turnover. Here, the St. Joseph's guard comes off a ball screen, attacks, gets to the wing, sidesteps for a three, and DaRon Holmes is able to not only stay with him, but contest that sidestep three. And again here, the ball handler comes off a ball screen, he's able to contest that shot without fouling, again staying upright, as we mentioned before, with his rim protection. This is something that you don't really see a ton of big men do, and I think this adds a ton of value to DaRon Holmes' profile. As I mentioned to start off the video, the name of the game with DaRon Holmes is versatility, and his ability to be such a versatile defender, again play in all these multiple schemes, and not only play in them but thrive in them. This is just not something that we see a ton of big men do. He's also able to come out onto the 3-point line and contest jump shooters. You just don't see a lot of 6'10" players able to react on a moment's notice and contest these 3-point shooters. And we're always talking about playoff versatility. DaRon Holmes is a player that screams of just that: playoff versatility, and a player that you would love to have on your team come April and May. To sum it all up with DaRon Holmes, versatility is the name of his game. As I mentioned throughout the video, versatility. He offers a ton of different value on both sides of the floor, whether that be rim protecting, passing, maybe offering some free throw shooting, right? Being able to protect the rim, being able to come up to the level of the ball screen. That's not something that you see out of a ton of big men, and that's what I really like about DaRon Holmes. He's a little bit of a jack of all trades. He's not a prospect with some type of super high star upside. However, he doesn't have to be. If he can be a quality role player, take advantage of all the different skills that he has on both sides of the floor, I think he can carve out a very quality NBA career for himself. But let me know what you guys think about DaRon Holmes in the comments section below. And aside from that, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have subscribed, please share the video with a friend. And yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. Peace.